Look at the pop coming out from Genji, just destroying the opponents. The tower goes down, the inhibitors are dropping, and SK Gaming are just romping the way to victory.
I'm going to see them going in, and there is the steal. Jankos picks up the Baron. Reckless is going to fall. That's 2 kills coming down. Welcome everyone to week 5 of the European League of Legends Championship Series, coming to you live from our studio in Cologne, Germany. I'm Joe Miller, and joining me here at the caster desk is Martin Deficio Lunge.
Thank you, Joe. It's going to be another huge week for the European teams as they fight for the top positions in the standings.
But before we get into those matches, let's take a look back at some of the top news stories from last week, starting off with the North American LCS. We saw XDG picking up a nice victory over Dignitas, but Evil Geniuses continue to struggle.
Yeah, EG is still trying to find their playstyle. They have some very action-packed games with a lot of early aggression, but once they get to the team fights, things are kind of falling apart for them.
Yeah.
TSM, on the other hand, they just keep winning. They're led by Bjergsen, who's doing well on every single champion he played so far. But we also have to mention the rest of TSM. We have Dyrus who's looking great, and the odd one who's constantly helping the lanes when needed.
And that, of course, puts them at the top of the standings in North America with a 9-for-1 record. Pretty formidable, but hot on their heels is Cloud9, who are only 1 game behind. And over here in Europe, literally everyone is beating everyone.
And Superhot Crew, they are probably the best example for this. Last week in day 1, they lost to Millennium, who's the last team in the EU LCS. On day 2, they completely destroyed Gambit on 26 minutes and 3 seconds. That is the fastest win we've had in the LCS so far.
Incredible when you think back to that win as well. And we also have some interesting stats regarding the AD carries. There's been a lot of talk about them not being as impactful as they were previously.
Yeah, and those statistics, they point in a very different way, because we have 6 out of 8 teams currently led by the AD carry in KDA. 2 AD carries, Reckless and Genja, lead the entire EU LCS in total KDA, and both of them together with Celavar lead the league in gold per minute.
And we also have we have to touch on the fall of Fnatic while we're on the topic of Reckless here, because they started with 7 wins in a row, but have since lost 3 on the bounce. So my question to you is, what is wrong with Fnatic right now?
Fnatic are simply playing too passive in the lanes at the moment. They need to either find a way to survive the passive laning phase without falling behind, or change up the playstyle. The teamfights and rotation are still top-notch from Fnatic, but the rest, it's not there. But we have to remember, they have lost to Gambit, Rocket, and Alliance who played like a perfect game. So let's not panic too much yet.
No panicking just yet, because it is only 3 losses against 3 of the top teams around, that's for sure. So let's take a look at where the teams are in the standings. Once again, everything is amazingly close, just like we like it here in Europe. First place is that 3-way tie with Rocket, Fnatic, and Gambit all on 7 wins and 3 losses.
And they're followed by a 4-way tie for 4th between Alliance, Copenhagen Wolves, SK Gaming, and Superhot Crew, who are all 4 for 6. And competing in the last spot of the table, we have Millennium with 3 wins and 7 losses.
And that brings us to this week's action, so let's have a look at today's matches. We start off the day with another round in the El Clasico matchup as SK Gaming face off against Fnatic, and we'll follow that with the Copenhagen Wolves and the Superhot Crew looking to get the better of each other and move out of the bottom half of the table.
Then Rocket will try to hold on to their first place as they take on Alliance. And our 4th game of the day will be Gambit taking on Millennium, that really needs to get some points on the board.
And after those LCS games, the European Challenger Series has a best-of-3 battle for 3rd place as Tick, Trick and Duck take on Meet Your Makers.
And then on Friday, we have the Challenger Series final coming to a head as Ninjas in Pyjamas face off against Cloud9 Eclipse, live on our stage right here in Cologne.
And as a reminder, that means our day will be starting 2 hours earlier on Friday, so be sure to tune in at 5 PM Central European Time, which is 8 AM Pacific, so that you don't miss any of the LCS and the Challenger action. But now we want to point out some key players to keep an eye on this week, and with the table so close, for me, there are so many pros that we could feature here, but my choice have both come from Fnatic, starting off with Xpeke, who for me has not been hitting the levels that we've come to expect from him in the last few games. He's struggled in the 3 games that Fnatic have lost, and will most definitely need to step it up if he's going to get Fnatic back on track. Meanwhile, XPK's top lane teammate Soaz has also been unable to make a big impact in the games that Fnatic have lost. In particular, his performance against Roccat was pretty lackluster after dying 1v1 in that top lane against Xaxus. Now, he's also felt the pressure from the community this week, and I think a good performance is going to do a lot for his confidence here.
Yeah, but I've decided to pick 3 players who all have the same impact for their teams. When they do well, the team is winning. We can start with Svenskeren. When he's hot, SK wins. When he's not, they lose. SK Gaming, they need Svenskeren to perform and help out the lanes in the early game. He's a bit of a hit and miss player, with 11 deaths in their wins, but 30 deaths in their losses. I believe though, he has the skills to be a top jungler in Europe, if he can be more consistent. Mimir is the next one for me. He's much like Svenskeren, a hit and miss player. The Super Hot crew really need to perform. He's the front line of Super Hot crew's teamfights, and Mr. Rales he won't be able to carry without Mimir pulling all the attention. He's been playing better and better lately, and he needs to really keep improving. Still having a bit of issues with his champion pool. We've only really seen him on Renekton and Dr. Mundo. Froggen for me is the last player though. He is pretty much the leader and shot caller of Alliance. Whenever he performs, they win the games. The numbers they speak for themselves. He has 8.83 KDA when winning and 1.85 KDA when losing. He's been playing a little bit too passive from time to time and been very focused on farming instead of making plays, except for when he's on LeBlanc. If he plays more consistent and more aggressive, I actually feel Alliance can be a lot better.
And remember, you guys can find stats for your own players to watch and much more over at lolesports.com. All you have to do, head over to the site to track your favorite teams, watch the VODs and see the full schedule. And while you're there, you'll also be able to tell us which teams you think will win each of tonight's matches.
Just click on schedule and give a thumbs up to the lineup that you think has what it takes to win. You can also find out how to join us here in the studio to watch the teams play in person. Just click tickets to get all of the information.
And now it's time for you to talk to us, so jump on Twitter and tell us which North American LCS pro would you like to see on a European LCS team and why.